Jack here, owner of Hockey Alley, bringing you back hockey history. And today I got my good friend of mine, Joakim Falt, who's a coach from Sweden, who's coaching in North America. He's coached junior hockey. How are you, Joakim?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Yeah, I want to do a little story on you because it's fascinating. You come in from Sweden, played pro hockey, and coaching in North America. You coach juniors. And we ran into each other, I think, the first time. What year, do you remember?
Yeah, I don't remember what year it was, but it had to be early 2000s.
That's what I'm recalling. At least 18, 20 years I've known you.
Yeah. And I was coaching professional in Norway before I come over here, and then I ran into you.
Yeah, and I recognize the name Swedish. You must be Swedish. I had, over the years, I believe about 11 of my students play for you over the years.
A lot of good students from your home coming there. So
thank you.
they all got good skill, and one of my favorite kids is still Jack Avitisian.
Oh yeah, I remember him. He was fast. Good hands.
Yeah, good hands, and unfortunately he missed a really good open look in the nationals, so we didn't get a medal.
Yeah, it's sad. That's yeah, you've made a lot of success out of players. Like my guys that played for you improved their game big time. I'm talking positional hockey sense. It's something that you don't see.
No, and that's the problem, and that's the big thing. Every arena, every city I come to, and it is so frustrating because everybody's just focusing on moving the kids around, and they having fun all the time, and there is literally too much. This is this new thing USA Hockey have that is supposed to be all small games all the time, but I don't believe in that at all. I believe in small games. It's all fine and dandy, but if you don't teach the kid how to play hockey, he can have all the skill in the world, and he's not going to end up and be successful.
That is true. I mean, in Sweden, we never played small game. I played juniors and pro there. And do you ever recall playing small game in Sweden?
No, I do recall going line to goal line a lot.
Yeah, that's what we all did.
And that's another issue here with youth hockey in the world right now. Is like the kids are changing and they're getting softer, and they're mentally not prepared for hard work. They want everything granted to them. They don't understand that success comes in small steps. They want instant gratification, and that's not how the sports works out.
No, but that's a society today. It's just they don't want to put the work into it. It's true.
Yeah, no, and the kids, they only know so much. They're getting it from the home.
Yes.
And they're getting it from the school, and they're getting it from the leadership who is around them all the time. And I see it on a daily basis now for 20 years.
Yes.
That kids wants to come, they want to make a tryout. They don't even want to work hard in a tryout. They just want to make a team. and then when they make a team, they are the smallest excuse to not make a practice. But then, just because they're playing on some travel team, they want to play the games. But it is just mind-blowing, the thinking all the time. And I'm really changing that up. And I'm very controversial. What I believe in is what I believe in. I will always risk my job that I want to do what I want to do. For example, last week I had my Bantam team run 5 miles. 2 miles for condition, and then 3 miles because they were late for practice.
Yep, you got to pay the consequences.
Yeah, and that's and same thing on the ice. And here is what happened with the world now.
Yeah,
it's like there is all this information out on the internet, and it frustrates me because I call them internet coaches.
Yeah, they pick their stuff from the internet. Pretty much, that's what I see. They all do the same thing.
They all do the same thing. They have no ideas themselves. And then when they come out there and there's a breakdown in the game, those coaches are clueless because they only know one way on that internet drill.
Yes.
And then when the kids comes to a club who demands responsibility, they failing because they don't know it. And that's why Tortorella has such a hard time in NHL, because he expects is accountability and hard work.
Absolutely.
And even those NHL kids are floating out there now. It's I don't know what's going on.
It changed a lot over the years. And you have an eye for talent. Like, I have seen what you have done and how you've picked players over the years. And you won championships. And you've improved guys day and night, like different. And from what you've done, it was amazing. I believe you could coach in the NHL easily. From what I've seen in coaches over the years, you have it. And it is a numbers game. It is a politics game of who you know to get into those leagues. But I really believe you belong in that league. And that's my opinion. From what I've seen you do with players, it's amazing.
Well, thanks for saying that. And that's the same thing. And that's the same thing with a lot of scouts out there or a lot of coaches for junior hockey. When they go to a showcase, they also want instant gratification. All they're trying to pick the best players. They need to start looking at guys. How good is this kid going to be in December?
Yes.
Can I even make this kid better, or is this kid just going to be this flashy stick handler who has a goal once in a while?
Yeah.
And there's too many teams now. They just build them for 1 year.
Yeah.
And yeah, you might get some success, but in the long run, it's like me. I coached over 1,000 junior hockey games.
Like, how many years have you coached juniors, would you say? I've known you for over maybe 20, I believe 18 to 20 years I've known you. But how many years would you say you've coached junior hockey?
I've been a head coach junior hockey 21 years.
20, wow. And over 1,000 games, right?
Over 1,000 games.
Wow.
And I never been fired. What happened is I leave organizations when there is no moral and character with the organization or the owners. Then I have to move on because that's what I stand for. And that's what brings me all the championships.
Yeah, all my guys that I've sent and that you've coached, they said that you're the best coach they've ever had. And even you had a kid, I don't want to mention his name, but you worked this kid every morning on positioning, on play for about 2 months for free, like privately. Like most coaches, they take private and they make money. You worked with this kid for free, and there was a little bit of fallout between you two, with a parent and you, about something. But anyways, even that happened. The kid said, "This is the best coach I've ever had," and that usually never happens. Like when there's a fallout between a coach or a parent, or and the kid still said, "This is the best coach I've ever had," and that speaks volumes. And he's had NHL coaches like Scott Niedermayer. He's had a couple of former Kings NHL players coach him. For him to say that's huge.
Yeah, no, that's really nice, and that was a really bad thing. It wasn't a bad thing. It was just like that kid could be so good hockey player if he stuck it around, but his parents just didn't have the patience.
No.
And these parents did not see what I saw. So parents and we never got along. We couldn't agree. So the kid got stuck in the middle, and he's always going to follow his father's word. And unfortunately, it is what it is. So we just got to move on.
Yeah, and you never play the politic game of keeping kids where you get paid off of them. You always move kids ahead. Like if you had a chance to move a kid, even though that would hurt your team not to keep him because he's very talented, you would be the type of guy that would move him up for the next level just to look out for the kid's sake if he's able to play up, which is amazing. Nobody does that.
No one does that anymore. Everybody's selfish, and I do it. I still help kids on other teams if they need help. And I have put over 300 kids into college.
Wow.
I had another kid in Norway. No one wanted this kid. and I took a chance on him, and he ended up being the goaltender for Team Norway in 2 World Championships.
Wow. Yeah, you have the eye for talent. From what I've seen, like your predictions that you made on NHL players, just the predictions were before they even happened, and you were 100% right every single time. Like that's why I make it this interview with you, because I'm fascinated about the knowledge you have, and it's not just that the friendship. Forget about that. It's about the knowledge you have, and I want to kind of it is a little bit of hockey history here because you are trying to bring back the old school hockey that's been forgotten, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and that's unfortunate that all the younger coaches, they don't know old school hockey, and they don't. So everything is changing with them, and then so here's another thing too. Here's what happens. There's a lot of owners out there in the country, and they just don't care really about the results. All they care about is the money.
That's true.
So if they can get a kid who is half my age and doing almost what the owner think is almost a good job, and he's never going to hire me because I'm going to be controversial with him because I want it the right way.
Yeah.
And there is so many. It just drives me baloney. I see all this mid-20 coaches. They're running around and they think they're actually something. They're lying to the kids and they're telling them stories just to get the kid to sign with them.
Yeah.
And then they all go back on the world, and usually 1 or 2 years later, those kids ends up on my team, and they're just a mess.
Yeah. It's a lot of stuff happens like this. The other thing that's sometimes happen, a lot of like general managers or coaches, like if you wanted to move up, they're threatened by you because you have the experience that they don't have, and they're afraid of losing their job. So it's a lot of that numbers game that goes on.
Well, that's the thing that's been happening with me for so many years.
It's a lot. They're afraid, Can you blame them?
Every time, for example, a couple of years ago, I was talking to a general manager, and he is Swedish, for a USHL team, and I told him, "Hey, bring me in, let me help out." And that was the last time he responded to my phone calls, because he probably looked at my resume and he figured out, man, I can't bring this kid in. He's going to take the job from me.
That's what they're all afraid. Everybody's looking out for themselves, and that's how the hockey world works.
And the problem is, I would never take somebody's job. It just happens naturally when everybody sees what's going on.
Right.
And yeah, that's another really hard part in sports right now. It's all the backstabbing that's going on, and it's just baloney.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk old school hockey, we're not talking like Broad Street Bullies, just fight and hit. We're talking explain what exactly you mean by old school hockey. Define it, because people think old school hockey, they think of like just gooning it up.
No. Old school hockey is like everybody needs to put on the blue collar pants and get ready to work from the first face-off to the last face-off, and you just need to learn to play the game hard, and all the small details in the games is going to open up for you when that happens.
It's true. And I don't see a lot of kids doing that. It's not there where the work ethic, putting everything you have in a practice, because the way you practice, how you play.
Yeah, no, it's true. And that's what happens with all these small games. I'm going to move around. And as long as I have 12 kids moving around at the same time, I'm doing a good job. And I don't believe in it. It's like, it's better off practice. And that's why kids don't practice enough now.
No.
The kids are maybe on the ice 3 hours a week. And the kids thinks that just because I'm signing up for a team, coach is going to get me to the higher level. Well, you know what, Buckaroo? You need to be in charge of your own development when you're not at the rink. And kids are not. They are not.
No. What do you think of AA, AAA, buying a vowel? I mean, I'm a big believer in, but I'll let you go first.
Well, well, I, I gotta be careful now.
Well, you can say whatever you want. It's my channel. I can say whatever I want because we're talking here hockey. And, it's a good education for some parent out there who's listening, who's trying to make a decision on what to do with their kid. And, there's a lot of cons out there that want the money and they just want your kid for the money and they don't really care about your kid. So,
Well, yeah, that's true. There's a lot of good AA and AAA hockey in the world. There's a lot of good coaches there, but the problem is, it's all the bad apples who are ruining it for the good guys.
yes.
And as a parent, when you go to a tryout for a fancy AAA team, first of all, you need to interview the coach at least 2 times about what he sees and what he sees in the team and where does he think the team is going to be and where does my son fit in on your team today and where does my son fit in on your team in 3 months. And if he can't answer those questions, if he's just going to give you guys a bunch of BS questions, he's not a good coach. I wouldn't go with him.
What about a coach who sits a kid? The biggest problem is the kids don't get enough ice time and they get sat. And then the coach doesn't explain why they're sitting. What do you think of that?
Well, that's totally BS because that would be the same thing putting a guy in timeout who's 35 years old at his job and don't explain why he's in timeout.
Good analogy. It's true.
It doesn't work like that. And here's what all the coaches they're trying to play this tough game. Right. No, it's about you can make or break a young man's life with one sentence.
Yeah.
And if you can't explain for that kid why you're sitting him, why do you even have the job?
Yeah.
And that's you just got to tell the kids heads up before the game. Hey kids, if you guys are going to run around out there like prima donnas and turn over the puck on the blue line and not back check, you will be set. That's a clear message.
Yeah, it's true.
And then you got to stick to your guns. And if you're telling the kids that meeting tomorrow is 3:00, game starts 5. If your superstar walks in 3:01, there's a prime example how you just need to man up and bench him.
Yeah, I agree.
I've been to two tournaments so far with this organization, and the last tournament I benched my best player for the whole tournament for off-ice behavior. And everybody was shocked. You said, you're not going to win. You're not going to win it now. And I said, well, it's not about that. It's about we got to teach these kids to grow up and be men too.
Yeah, respect and all that. Yeah. What do you think of open ice tryouts for juniors? The ones that they have like showcases and, like USHL, North American League. They put these rookie camp tryouts. What do you think of those? Let the parents know because there's parents out there deciding for their kid whether to go to juniors and what should they watch out for?
Well, it's just a money grab. All those pre-draft camp is just a pure money grab. Because I'll tell you one thing, there is no coach in this world who's going to allow a player they want on his roster go to a camp with 200 kids. Because he could be picked up by somebody else. Mm-hmm. If you're a wanted and seriously wanted, that coach will contact you and he will make sure that he will at least tell you, hey, I'm going to come and watch you. And I want to talk to you after the game, and I really like your hockey game. The problem is there is too many kids at too many showcases, and it just gets diluted. Mm-hmm. But the best advice for the parents out there, whoever is this guy's coach now, you need to ask him, what's your connections for moving my kid on? If that coach is a 24-year-old kid with no connection, I will find another team. Find another team who's going to bring you success in the long run. Because even if you play on honey-baked AAA, when you go to really good showcase with a lot of good coaches. Those coaches can't watch every game. They might only watch 10 minutes, and if you're not on the top line, you might not get the minutes so you can get in there.
Got it.
And that's where the coach needs to help promote you.
Got it. Yeah, that's interesting because what if a kid doesn't have the coach that's willing to promote him? What should he do if he's going to have to do it on his own? We're talking a 15, 16, or a 17-year-old. What can they do if? Because you've been in this business longer than anybody, coaching junior hockey, over 1,000 games. What can a kid do? A teenager that's looking to play junior, his dreams to make it as high as possible.
Well, first of all, he's got to figure out where he wants to play. If he wants to play junior hockey, okay, let's say the kid wants to play junior hockey, then he's got to do some kind of research. If he goes to just an individual team's tryout, he's got to figure out how many returners, what's the age group on most of the kids there, and do I actually have a chance to make that team? If a team played in, for example, North American League, and they have a roster of 23 kids, but 17 kids of those kids are returners, there is a slim chance that he's going to make the team unless he really stands out on the tryout. The coach might not even see him there.
Okay.
And now with all this computer, it's not like back in the days you got to know somebody who knows somebody. Now every single team is out on the internet. They can do their own research. I know they're playing video games 4 hours a day. They can do some research about a hockey team and say, hey, here's a good team. Here's a junior team in my town. I would like to play on them.
Yeah.
Because what the kids need to understand, a personal email from a kid telling a coach, hi coach, this is C and so, and I will be at this showcase or I will play in this town. Do you have time to come and look at me? If the coach is in the area, they will always come when a kid does an email like that.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. If someone does that, that's you're basically selling your product yourself to try to get a job somewhere. That's how I look at it. Like, is that, any way you can?
Yeah, that's what they have to do. And all these spam emails, all these million emails kids gets, come for this camp and come for this pre-draft camp. Those are just money grabs because that they're wasting the time. And I hear the worst answer always from the parents is like, oh, well, he's getting some kind of experience.
Yeah.
I always wonder what kind of experience is he getting.
Yeah. You've been general manager and coach for many years over the years. And the most impressive thing is that you prepare the pregame meals for the team too. So you, besides coaching and managing the team, you're also cooking their pregame meals, which is unheard of. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, you got to make sure, and that's a big piece of sports now, is the nutrition.
Yeah.
And you see kids coming to the rink drinking a Red Bull, which they think is good for them, but it's actually pure poison. Mm-hmm. And, you got to make sure. And that's another thing where the kids needs to be in charge of their own development. And they got to think about sleep, hydration, and nutrition. And that's just a subject they're not really willing to work on because they're going to need a lot of help from the folks back home.
Yeah.
For example, now every time we have a late practice, even with my kids, I demand the parents to buy a bunch of Subway sandwiches for them. And after every Saturday practice, it's kind of a midday. Mm-hmm. Then I have a scheduled team dinner up at the restaurant in the rink, so I know the kids get a healthy meal at least when they're with me.
Yeah, you're very responsible, and not too many coaches do that, which is amazing. One last thing, I would like to hear from you. If you were to scout, and you don't have to give your secrets away, but something that makes you unique, because look, I've seen what you've done, and I've known you for a long time. It's amazing what you can do. Can you tell viewers, or I would like to hear from you about how you scout and what's unique about the way you do it. And you don't have to give any secrets.
Well, one thing you got to look at is like everybody tells, they don't teach the kids find open eyes without the puck.
Yeah.
You have to look at the kids who knows how to play the game without the puck. He's actually pretty smart. But they don't teach the kids how to play the game without the puck now. And they totally forgot to teach the kids who has the puck skates himself into lanes where he actually can deliver a good pass. There's too many hand grenades out there.
Yeah, it's true.
And those are two really, really important things I'm looking at. How is this kid without the puck? Does he even know the game, or is he just a flashy guy?
Yeah.
And it all starts with how fast does he go to the bench when he changes on the fly. If he goes to the bench, I would never pick him.
I want to thank you so much for taking the time with your busy schedule I'd like to educate the parents out there about what you do. And it's not about promoting your team or anything like that. It's just that it's fascinating how much knowledge you have and what you've done with players over the years. And I always like to bring back that hockey history of how the old school training should be, or the way they play. It's not there anymore. And that's why I kind of like to bring that back. That's why I wanted to do this interview with you.
Yeah, no, it's fun, and my phone is always open to any. I just helped a kid from your area with his future, and I hope he does all right. He's a young kid, and he's playing junior hockey in Islander somewhere. So
Yeah, he's good attitude.
Yeah, those are the kids you want to help.
Thank you for doing that. And I have some of my students actually called you just to talk, and you're not charging them to talk, just to talk and get an idea what to do, and it's really been helpful for them. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
You got it. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. We're playing the Golden Knights tonight, so I got to get ready.
Good luck.
Hey, thank you. We beat them.
You got it.
Beat them.